President Bola Ahmed Tinubu inaugurates gas project in Port Harcourt, assures investors of enabling environment. Federal government plans compressed natural gas conversion incentive for road transport operators. Central Bank of Nigeria approves 14 new international money transfer operators to boost remittances. Minimum wage, Labour rejects a federal government's 48,000 naira offer. Oil prices on moderate U.S. inflation data, strong demand. Asia markets rise after Wall Street soars on soft inflation data, and Japan GDP shrinks. The program is Business Express, reaching you from Abuja, Nigeria's capital. I am Benny Adams, your guide. A very good morning to you. It's that time to talk business. I'll start by telling you that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is reiterating for emphasis his administration's resolve to continue to support gas development and utilization in order to spur Nigeria's economic growth. State House correspondent Musbao Danwahab reports that this was at the inauguration of 3 gas projects located in Delta and Imo states in a hybrid event.
Projects also fully in line with the Decade of Gas initiative and our quest to create value from nation's abundant gas assets while eliminating gas flaring and celebrating industrialization. Equally, I wish to assure investors in the energy space that this is an investment enabling government and we will not relent in our effort to facilitate the ease of doing business in Nigeria.
And still on gas projects, a 200 million standard cubic feet capacity gas processing plant has been inaugurated in Odokwa West local government area in Delta State, projected to turn Ogbeyi into a vibrant or thriving community. Key players believe the inherent benefits of the inaugurated gas plant will have positive ripple economic effects across the country.
Reach a critical turning point. The decision to eliminate fuel subsidy at the start of your administration has compelled increased spending in the upstream and midstream gas development and the use of gas as an appropriate, more cost-effective and cleaner alternative to diesel and gasoline.
The 3 infrastructure projects will enable additional gas processing capacity and also increase supply of liquefied petroleum gas, thereby reducing dependency on importation and also on petroleum spirit.
One unique thing about this project is the addition to the LPG supply into the country, because they will supply close to 20% of LPG requirement in the country.
Investors in the Nigerian solid minerals sector will no longer travel million miles to access information in the industry, but can get the needed data at their fingertips. Mayor Ogidi reports that this is the reality as the Ministry of Solid Minerals Development launches Nigerian Minerals Resource Decision Support System software in Abuja.
This Nigerian Minerals Resources Decision Support System Nigerian Minerals Resource Decision Support System software unveiled. A marketing strategy in the ease of doing business in Nigeria. The chief driver of the ministry, Dele Alake, optimistic, the software softens the process for data acquisition.
With a click of a button, you can access all the information that you require to make an informed decision or informed investment judgment in the sector.
I am convinced that the solid mineral sector will not just be an alternative to the oil and gas sector, but the solid mineral sector will be a real big deal because that's what's coming up.
Dr. Dele Alake is one of the best ministers we could always pray for. So we invested more than $250 million so that we can be able to employ, we can be able to fix our GDP, we can be able to sort all our problems. In this country, we have everything.
The software helps users navigate the diverse geological terrain of the solid minerals industry in Nigeria.
To speak on the economic benefits of the federal government launched a portal to enhance ease of doing business in the mining sector is a professor of geophysics and mining expert. He is Professor Charles Ofuegbu. You're welcome to Business Expert. Did I get that right, Prof?
You got it right. Ofuegbu.
Thank you very much. Okay, Prof. So much is being said about wrapping up revenue for government spending, and the big thing has always been oil. Now we hear the next big deal, or we know that the next big deal is actually mineral resources. Anytime you travel out of this country, your government travels out and seeking investors into the country, the first area of interest is our solid minerals, which today is being pegged at about $750 billion. What are those minerals that are really marketable at first sight?
Well, I think I have to take people back a bit to memory lane.
Okay.
There was a time when the economy of this country was hinged on solid minerals and agriculture. Then you hear of tin, copper, all the mines in Jos. Jos was basically that, littered with mines. Then you have the coal corporation, the coal in Enugu and places like that. And then agriculture, which led to, you used to hear about the granite pyramids and things like that. Then that was the basic economy of this country was on solid minerals and then to some extent agriculture. Then came the black gold, the oil boom era, when discovery of oil, production of oil, and by the time we knew it, rather than carry the two together, hand in hand, solid mineral was dropped, was literally abandoned. Well, I always maintain it wasn't just an accident. It was by sheer government policy. Government just decided we don't need to bother about solid minerals anymore. Let's just talk only about oil because we felt it was easier to come in huge and then spend. But today, with what is happening, for the Russia-Ukraine war, so the fossil fuels, as we know it in science, is increasingly becoming a thing of the past. We are worried about the environment. We are worried about the environment, particularly the impact on the environment. And so increasingly people are beginning to say, what else should we do? How else should we generate? And also the fossil fuel reserves are beginning to deplete.
Yeah.
That's why we're beginning to emphasize even gas. Before, go to Anambra Basin, for example. When Shell, Ajip, Mob, or companies like that come in, they find gas, they just cap the well and walk away because gas was seen as not being of any value. They move on down towards further down on the Niger Delta where they will find crude. Even there, you see some wells that are capped because they are predominantly gas and water. But today,
okay, Prof.
We're going back now to
let me hold your thoughts at this point in time. Prof, it is clear that, yes, like you've established, solid minerals have been abandoned by sheer government policy in the past. But previous administrations to this present administration, we're seeing a lot of activities in the minerals sector, talking about the extractives in general, but with concentration on solid minerals. Yes, we've seen also we're trying to move from the old way of doing mining to some technologically driven processes. We've seen lithium plants being inaugurated by the president just some days ago. Now we're seeing a new portal that is coming on board to provide some sort of information. How does all of this translate to us having to add some level of value to our solid minerals before exports?
I think it's commendable. We are beginning to do what we should have done a few years back.
Okay.
Until recently, all that mattered was dig out the solid minerals, sell it to maybe, I'm sorry to say it, predominantly some Chinese, some Asians, British people. They cut it away, pay you whatever they like. After all the labor, they go back, process the products, bring them back to Nigeria, and our industries, the country, will begin to pay 3, 4, 5, 10 times the value of the same product taken away from Nigeria. Now we're beginning to think about, let's emphasize processing our solid minerals, and then also begin to identify the solid minerals, make mining attractive to investors. And that is why the Geological Survey Agency recently has embarked on a very comprehensive geophysical, geological, geochemical study of this country. The idea is to provide the baseline data you need in mining, so that once you come in and you need the information, you grab it, call it is recognized information as we may regard it in geophysics. Then you now decide on where area you want to concentrate, and you go down there and now emphasize your studies. That gives also information on availability of materials, availability of assets, how encumbered are they, accessibility, what available infrastructure exists. And all this put together, you also now have to ask for information on basic, how do I get a license, hitch-free, which was part of what was scaring away people, because we didn't have the ease of doing business in this sector in this country.
But at a point, through the Nigerian Investment Promotion Council, we have this one-stop shop that is supposed to provide all the information, not just for those intending to do business in Nigeria in the mining sector, but in all other sectors and commodities that are investable. What has gone wrong with that? Possibly this is an improvement. Yes, we have a portal, like you've also mentioned. Information, data is key, data is gold. With this information, particularly with this portal, what next? Talking about actionable steps for us to get to where we are supposed to be at this particular moment. Yes, like you've mentioned, we are doing what we're supposed to do today, what we were supposed to do some years back, we're doing them today.
Yes, moving forward with the portal that was launched on Tuesday, just a few days ago, I was there.
Okay.
We can now easily, an investor can, in far away Canada, for example, in far away United States or Russia or anywhere, with the touch of a button, you can take the information you need, the information on geology, the baseline data you need. You can even decide on what material, what mineral am I interested in, and from right on your screen, on your desk, you can tell you this is where in Nigeria, this is where you'll get it, and this is where you'll not get it. Moving forward, the advantage of this is that it prepares your mind to what you want, and reduces the stress in going into mining in Nigeria, and in so doing also gives you information on who and who, where are the experts, where are the professionals I can work with coming in from abroad, and it's no longer be something you do haphazardly. And I think at the end of the day, our mining industry will be good, will be better for it. The mining sector will be better for it, productivity will increase, and with that increase also, I'm hoping that we'll now get back and begin to take a look at modern day technology in processing. Modern day technology in processing, modern day technology in mining, and reduce the rate of illegal mining, or what they call artisanal miners, I prefer to call them, though some people call them illegal miners. These are artisanals who are seeking to exploit it. It's also reducing security, because everywhere you have mining, you have a high degree of insecurity.
Sure.
You know, in fact, most of the insecurity we have in this country, to a large extent, have to do with natural resources.
The wealth beneath the ground.
The wealth beneath, it has to do with natural resources. And when it's properly managed and done a proper way, then you find out that this is a level of insecurity.
Okay, talking about mining being done the proper way, we've seen efforts in time past of taking, artisanal miners to forming cooperatives, to getting them licensed. Yes, while that licensing is ongoing, there are some other dormant licenses that have been revoked. How are all of these initiatives, all of these reforms shaping the mining sector at this point in time?
Well, I think the last time I was on air on the issue of mining, yes, the licenses, the minister is right in revoking many licenses. We have a lot of briefcase carrying miners. Let me say it. Briefcase carrying miners who have taken virtually, like you have people who hold land in FCDA, taking virtually all the licenses. Oh, I'm a minister. I'm sorry to say that I'm a minister. I call the minister of finance and say, I need a license. I need a license. And then the minister calls the director and say, give him a license. This man carries his license, puts it in his briefcase. He hardly even pays for it. He hardly even pays the rent, even the ground. Doesn't even know the community where that license covers. Has not even done any consent. And a lot of these licenses were floating around. Some years you have a license, if the license was not properly acquired, and if the license is not being put into use for what it should be done, if it's an exploration lease, there is an exploration program you're supposed to go through. If you're not going through it, what it means is that you are holding it, believing that it's a strategic reserve of wealth, which is meant for, which means seizing what belongs to the entire, that will help the economy of this country. So the minister is right in saying, I will revoke all of them, because as far as I'm concerned, whatever that license you are carrying, that lease you are carrying is in gold, printed in gold. It's illegal. It's illegitimate.
As part of this,
and then the artisanal you were talking about.
Yeah, go ahead.
With artisanal miners we're talking about. You see, when those of us who are stakeholders decided to bring him to play the issue of cooperative miners, it's just the same way in the past government set up cooperative societies as a way of empowering people, bring people together. Some of them are women, market women, things like that. We're saying, wait a minute, these people that are digging up the whole of Goma local government in Benue, digging up in Zamfara, doing this and doing, and then also the level of unemployment. Let's also create, people keep thinking I only have artisan. The idea is also to create employment in the mining sector for our dormant youth who are unemployed and looking for what to do and roaming the streets. So bring 10 of them together, put them together, register them as a mining cooperative, not a traders cooperative or farmers cooperative.
Strictly on mining.
Strictly on mining. Have a chairman, a secretary, about 10 of them, 10 such young men. It could be women, could be, bring them together and then have a cooperative registered. Then there was a program, there was an idea that state governments who controlled cooperative registration of cooperatives are to give them these cooperative certificates free of charge, register them free of charge as part of empowering them. And then from that point, they now work with Mirenko and the state mines officer to articulate what they want to do, identify an asset. It could be assets where they've been doing illegal mining, as it's called, and hurting themselves with chemicals and things like that, and then come up to Abuja. At Abuja, you'll be given one cadastral unit free of charge. That cadastral unit that you'll be given, I think it's one unit still, will now enable you, it becomes a collateral for you to apply to access a loan, a fund provided by the Solid Minerals Development Funds through the Bank of Industry. I think it's 10 million naira now. At a very minimal interest rate, with a period of time you are allowed to consume.
A longer moratorium. One single digit interest.
From that cooperative miner, all of you will be working. That same way 10 of you get employed by some dangerous human beings and has to jump inside the pit and so on.
Okay, Prof.
And there's also machinery available for you.
Yes, Prof. As part of the reforms, we also hear there is a proposal to have a Nigeria Solid Mineral Corporation, just like the NNPC. What's your take on that?
Well, I think this country has gone through that route before.
Okay.
I don't think it was very successful. We used to have what we call the Mining Corporation of Nigeria. Nigerian Mining Corporation. We used to have that.
What happened to it? What
well, of
do
course,
we expect differently now?
It was like they acquired a lot of strategic assets. A lot of them are still dormant today, registered in their names. But nothing was, I don't think government was benefiting from that. It was like government shouldn't be involved with business. They were supposed to become like involved
just to create an enabling environment.
Yes,
but the present plan has 50% equities strictly driven by the private sector, 25% possibly just for the government, and 25% for ordinary Nigerians.
If what they should do is provide funds to those who are already mining, and let everybody go and struggle for it on the same platform, let it be a market for all.
Open market.
Open market, because when you now say 50%, who determines who owns the 50%?
Prof, that is a word for the stakeholders at this point. Thank you very much for want of time. I think this is a conversation we should continue some other time. Thank you for sharing your thoughts at this time.
Thank you.
Well, moving on, let's take a look at the commodities market. Oil prices extended gains from the previous session on Thursday on signs of stronger demand in the U.S., where data showed slower inflation than markets expected, strengthening the argument for an interest rate cut, which could result in even stronger demand. Brent futures rose 42 cents to $83.70 a barrel, while the U.S. West Texas Intermediate crude gained 43 cents to $79.06. The U.S. consumer prices rose less than expected in April in a boost to financial market expectations for a September rate cut by the Federal Reserve, which could temper dollar strength and make oil more affordable for holders of other currencies. Now, before we see the figures in the market today, as of yesterday, bearish sentiment continued at the Nigerian exchange as the oil share index closed 0.13% lower to 97,343.42 basis points, marking its fourth successive session in decline. Trade turnover settled at 22.83%, higher than the previous session, with 355.55 million shares valued at 7.14 billion naira in 7,333 transactions, while the market capitalization shared 73.85 billion naira to close at 55.6 trillion naira. Now, the global market is open this morning, and we have Muplang Dakok standing by to give us update. Muplang, how is the market looking like?
Thank you, Benny. The markets are mostly positive this Thursday morning, and it's mostly based on the much lower than expected U.S. data which came in yesterday. But we begin from Asia, where stock markets in the region rose this Thursday after Wall Street benchmark closed at record highs overnight on that soft inflation data. In Japan, the Nikkei 225 advanced 1.39%. The Shanghai Composite of China increased by 0.07% at 3,122.12, while Hong Kong's Hang Seng Index also went up by 1.71% across 19,396.17 basis points. U.S. stock futures also ticked higher Thursday after the lighter than expected inflation reading propelled major averages to record highs. Futures to the Dow Jones Industrial Average advanced by 0.09%. The S&P 500 also advanced 0.08%, while the Nasdaq Composite went up 0.14%. European stocks opened mixed as earnings weighed on relief rally for global markets. Germany's DAX depreciated by 0.03%. FTSE went up 0.21%, while the CAC of France depreciated 0.18%, giving European markets a mixed outlook. Markets in Africa have just opened this morning. South Africa's JSE Africa Top 40 is already positive by 0.37%, while Namibia's overall index is down by 0.02%, while other markets in the continent are yet to post their figures this morning. That's Global Market Update. Benny, it's back to you.
Thank you, Moplang. And this is where we end today's edition of Business Express. We value your feedback, so keep the comments, observations, and suggestions coming. Be informed that all previous episodes are available on YouTube and on NTA's other social media channels. Business Express returns tomorrow Friday at 3 p.m. Keep a date with us as you keep thinking and doing business.